finding myself having a really tough time wanting to be around my abled friends at this point. Friendships with chronic pain and disability that's poorly understood has got to be one of the hardest things we have to face. We all know that isolation is terrible for us. We all know that humans need connection and people that are safe, that they trust, that can't just live and be healthy without connection. But chronic illness is like a wrecking ball on like the majority of relationships, and for multiple reasons. The first thing that happened to me when I got sick and injured is that I lost a lot of friends and I lost family members. Well, basically I was no longer able to continue the same role I played in a lot of my relationships, which was I was the one driving the connection, and I was the one bending over backwards to see people and set up plans and make it happen. And that was worth it to me because I was lonely, because I'd moved to a big city. I'm single, I'm childless. Like, I was trying to work on those things before I became disabled. And so I was willing to put in a lot of effort and energy for the connections in my life. But when I became sick and injured, I couldn't do that work anymore. And suddenly I had needs. I couldn't do things at other people's convenience the same way. And I really needed people to like initiate and set things up for me, and a lot of the people that I'd chosen to be in my life, or that I'd found that even wanted me in their lives, they only wanted me in their lives on their terms, and they wanted me to do things for them at their convenience, and I was just physically unable to do that, or they didn't really have a lot of time and weren't able to prioritize me, and that just became too hurtful as I experienced more and more isolation. So about a year and a half into my disability and illness current nightmare that I've been in since a surgery in 2022, I just gave up. I gave up being the instigator for a lot of people, and I stopped, I stopped initiating, and then a lot of friendships just completely disappeared. Sometimes those people came back around, and then I immediately was like open and warm again, and they immediately flaked on me again, or didn't respond, or ghosted me, and I was just like, okay, yeah, that's why we did that. I don't think it's a good thing that chronic illness made me create stronger boundaries and decide that I deserve more in my relationships. I mean, I think that's a good thing, and that happened because of chronic illness. I still think I would have learned that lesson and become better without. I didn't need chronic illness to make me even more miserable in my relationships, but that is like a good thing that has come of this, I suppose, where after I cut out, I didn't actually do anything actively. I just stopped working so hard, and so many relationships just disappeared, and I discovered that I actually felt better. I mean, I was lonelier, but at the time I felt better without those people, because those same people that were making me like knock on their doors all the time and, you know, bark at up their tree constantly, they were also hurting me a lot. And I kind of decided that I needed two things in all my relationships, and I needed everyone in my life to at least give me one of those two things. And so the first thing was they needed to be emotionally available, able to listen to me talk about my illness, able to ask me questions about myself, which surprisingly a lot of my friends can't, won't, don't do. So like holding emotional space, being an emotionally mature, caring, warm, sensitive person. A lot of my friends and family, they can't do that. They just can't. They can't. I still love them. So the second thing they needed to have was time for me, and ability to sometimes prioritize me, and ability to show interest in me and make me feel wanted. So there's a lot of people in my life that don't understand my illness, can't talk to me about it. I've given up trying. They forget that I am really, really, they don't know anything about what's wrong with me. They've never really asked me questions. It's kind of crazy how like emotionally bad a lot of my friends are. But they have time for me, and they like me, they make me feel wanted, and I still need humans in my life. And it's just been so freaking hard to make friends as a disabled person who moved to a huge city, single, childless, right before the pandemic. It's not my hometown. I don't have a lot of family nearby. Like, I've struggled so much with just literal, true isolation, bordering on solitary confinement as a result of my issues, that, you know, people who are generally kind and respectful and interesting and my age within huge windows, I guess. But I've been really wanting those people in my life, even if they they can't have emotional connection on a deeper level, like what we have to suffer carrying these burdens of chronic pain. But unfortunately, recently what's happened is that like my life has gotten so bleak, I've gotten so exhausted, that I now don't want to even see those people. And the reason is because, like I said, they're not the most emotionally mature people. And like, so a lot of my friends, people that I've known for a long time that I really care about, like, I know they care about me, but like, they just meet me and they talk to me for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, all about their life, and they forget to ask me a single question. Now, healthy me and healthier me emotionally would just share then. If it was non-reciprocal, I would interrupt and start saying like, I exist here too, and we're going to talk about me a little bit. But my life is so dark right now. It's just pain and emptiness and hopelessness and doing the same things I've been doing for the last 4 years and still not getting anywhere. And yes, I'm still seeing new doctors and I'm still trying new things and they're still not working. And I'm still reaching out to all these different people, and I'm still reading medical journal articles, and I'm still taking all these drugs. Like the same things I've been doing, it's just continuing to go nowhere. I'm continuing to live in pain. I'm continuing to not get to pursue relationships, not get to pursue my career. I'm continuing to have financial struggles. Like life is just really, really hard. And I'm finding myself having a really tough time wanting to be around my abled friends at this point. I don't know if that's something other people can relate to, or if maybe you guys have a solution, but like, I go hang out with my friend and she just talks to me about her family's trip to Disneyland and out of the country and her job and her conferences and all this fun stuff she's doing, and a few hardships too, but like normal hardships. And she didn't ask me a single question about myself or my life. She didn't ask me how the health stuff's going. She didn't ask me how anything's going. And normally I would just share because I know she's probably interested, but I'm so depressed myself about my own life, and I don't really have anything going on that's I'm excited about, that's positive, and I just feel I feel terrible just only sharing bad news with people. That's a really difficult place to be in, especially when it's been the same for years. And there's also been people in my life who've really hurt me because they can't handle the reality of permanent disability or any chronic pain. Or these are the kind of people that say really invalidating things, really patient blaming things. I know we've all experienced that. And I'm so scarred by so many people that I thought loved me and the kinds of weird shit they've said to me when I've tried to talk about my problems, that I don't really volunteer information about my health anymore. But I'm also sick of lying. I'm sick of showing up and being like, yeah, my students are going great, and like, kind of making up or making a bigger deal out of the few positive things in my life so that I have something to talk about, to relate to other people with, or basically just straight up lying and like pretending I'm going to go on a vacation and pretending I'm going to apply for some job and like I've literally done that because I've needed something to talk about, anything, and people have asked me questions, and I appreciate that, and so I've tried to think of something positive to say. I mean, basically living with chronic illness in especially my area where people ask questions and there's no answers. And the only answer is that the doctors don't have answers. And the doctors don't have answers because there's nothing wrong with me. The doctors don't have answers because, as I've seen a million times, there's no freaking research. They don't know hardly anything compared to other parts of the body and other common illnesses. But that's something I know, and my friends and family don't know that. They don't understand the extreme medical bias. I mean, this is another huge problem I've faced as well socially, and trying to exist as a person with a disability who looks normal, looks healthy. One thing I can say though is that if you are a friend or family member of someone living with chronic pain, ask. I mean, I don't know about other people, but for me, I need people to ask, create some space, ask me how I'm doing, let me talk about it. Show some curiosity, and then just just acknowledge the reality that must be really hard. Like that's probably the best thing anyone could do for me, and it would make me feel at least like understood and believed, and like they kind of get where I'm at, and I don't have to go into more detail about it if I don't want to, but at least I know they know. And right now I feel like no one knows, and it's making me not even want to see people that I love